Yeah, you're gonna get everybody that hasn't been to church there.
Offering
not charged either.
So just put the thing in here.
Hey, 20 seconds, y'all. 20 seconds for real.
Would you be quiet?
Yes, he is risen.
Me too.
No, you say you too?
All right, come on, Marcel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It's Wednesday, and I want to remind you that you're not behind, you're being aligned. Sometimes it feels like life is moving fast for everyone else, and you're stuck in neutral. But what looks like a delay is often God working behind the scenes, aligning people, places, and opportunities to meet you right where you're meant to be. The wins you've been praying for are on the way, and they won't be small, but they require your consistency, your patience, and your faith. The race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but to the one who endures to the end. So guess what? Don't rush the process. Don't compare your pace. Stay the course and keep showing up, because guess what? Your win is coming, and when it hits, it'll be worth every weight. It's your main man, Action Jackson, and you're rocking with the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390. I am so excited because today is my favorite day of the week, but of course, every day above ground is a good day. But when we got great guests in the studio, it makes the day even better. Guess what? We got a hot show for you today. I'll give you this preface. We are talking to what I deem the queen of the legal marijuana industry. She is saved and sanctified. She told we were in here talking about church, but she broke through barriers when we talk about smoking mirrors in the state not really doing what they said they were going to do when it pertained to that industry for black people. Guess what? She broke through those barriers and she's making history. And so I cannot wait to talk to her about this industry and all of the great benefits that it's helping some people with. But for those of you who don't want to hear it, go away. No, no, keep tuning in, because trust me, you're going to want to hear this story, because Victoria Williams is changing the game, and she's the powerhouse behind ACC of Illinois. So when we get back, we got a lot to talk about. So call your friends and your frenemies and tell them to tune in to the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390.
Get ready, Chicago. The Illinois Midwest Ecclesiastical Jurisdiction Workers Union 2025 is here. Join jurisdictional Bishop
So what do I do?
and Supervisor Mother
What do you want me to do?
as they welcome Church of God.
Remind me to bring my charger.
Along with other dynamic guest speakers,
Have you partaked before the show?
I got edibles. You want an edible?
Oh my God, no. That didn't work. I lost.
You probably want to put me on your Wi-Fi.
I knew God wanted me in that environment.
You know what?
So stay home.
Stay in your lane. Say, what's up? Your BFFs in this studio are going nuts.
With your name on it. You know what I mean?
God's got a blessing with your name on
I
it.
knew you was coming in today.
Absolutely.
Look, you know what? Would y'all wait a minute?
So y'all, I keep all this rules.
I knew it was coming in.
You know
You
what?
wore your Williams jersey? I know that's right. Caleb Williams.
I knew I had a blessing. I knew I had one coming.
You know what?
With your name on it. Okay.
Jarrell, I want to talk to your pastor.
I'm just like the part that you get the free pre-roll,
Ain't that something?
So I got some gummies there. I got some dummy packaging too for mine. This your wife's stuff right here, but I'll show it for the sake of the show. I'll show it.
Yes, yeah.
It's not recording right now.
So just in case they didn't tell you, just no cursing. I know you're not a.
I got you.
Oh my.
No, I am a cusser. You got to tell me.
Oh, okay. I'm glad.
I come from a cussing family.
Yeah. We're going into stores. What's going on? This is what I want.
Go to bequeeze.com and get your favorite fragrance today. That's BEQUEESE.com. Bequeeze.com.
Are pests invading your peace? Don't let bugs, rodents, or creepy crawlies ruin your home or business. Call RV RV Pest Solutions, the trusted pest control expert serving our community.
Was that cool?
Mention the Brunch Bunch and
Yes.
receive a special discount on your first service. Take control today and say goodbye to
I mean, this is her box, so this is all for her. I wanted to hook her up.
9605. That's 312-217-9605. RV Pest Solutions, protecting what matters most to you.
Where's the action, Jackson?
I'll tell you what's going on.
So, in the voice of Madam Vice President, former Vice President Kamala Harris, we did it, Joe. We have officially made it through the first quarter of 2025. Although there were plenty of hiccups, we survived. But before we move forward, I want to revisit some of these crazy and shocking moments from the last 3 months. From President Donald Trump's wave of executive orders to the crazy fires taking over California, the country has clearly been going through it, and it's time we just talk about it a little bit. Sometimes it's hard to keep track of what's happening in the news, so for everyone's sake, the Brunch Bunch is recapping some of the most interesting and flat out insane moments since the new year kicked in, and especially since the Donald J. Trump walked back into the White House. So get ready for a wild ride. Now, of course, we'll start it off. Cory Booker, he broke a record after spending over 25 hours on the Senate floor to protest President Donald Trump's administration. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker broke the record for the longest speech in Congress. Now, we talked about it, but before him, South Carolina Senator Strom Thurmond held the record for 68 years. The senator filibustered for 24 hours and 18 minutes in opposition to the 1957 Civil Rights Act. Now, Trump got rid of segregation protection. We just talked about Jim Crow, and segregation return has the country buzzing with disbelief after President Trump's administration repealed a crucial segregation clause in a February memo. And while many are scared for the future of the nation, others are urging black folks not to take Trump's bait. I read in The Root, and they reported that the memo doesn't explicitly make segregation legal at the federal, but it sure doesn't make it illegal. Of course, not only political crazy stuff has happened, the internet went insane over Marvin Sapp keeping churchgoers hostage. Now, he did not close the doors. Close the door. We're going to get that 40K. But here's the deal. For those of us, and what made me think of this was this morning, I've been out of town, so I was going. Facebook has a new feature that allows you to see all of the times you've been mentioned in the comment, which is very good because as I'm going through the list, I missed a few times, and one of the times was the Marvin Sapp controversy. They said, "Wake up, Action Jackson. What do you have to say about this?" Well, the gospel singer got dragged online after a video of him telling church ushers to close the doors went viral. All the mess began when Marvin Sapp came under fire over a clip of him talking to a crowd of about 2,000 churchgoers. I grew up in church. It's nothing wrong with saying close the doors. Now listen, depending on the church you grew up in, when offering was going on, at certain times those doors are not open and you cannot walk in the service. And if you had a strict black church, them ushers will body slam you if you look like you moving when they close those doors. And so nothing was wrong. And $40,000 is not first of all, it's no money, right? Because when you think of the church, he was at an international church convention where all of the churches from around the world come together to congregate together, and he asked them for $20. Now the goal was 40,000, but if you've ever worked in church, you've ever done a convention or a big event, there are a lot of fees that come with these events and booking speakers and paying the venues. And so in a church service, when you're raising that offering, most times it is to help offset the cost. Now, only what you do for Christ will last. When you give, you don't give worried about what's going to happen once it leaves your hand. You give on the premise of, God, I'm giving you my first fruits. I'm giving you my extra offering. And I'm believing once I sow this seed, I will reap a harvest. So I'll say that. Then we had Signalgate. It didn't take long for U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and several of the country's top defense officials to be caught in a lie after the editor-in-chief of the Atlantic was added to a group chat full of active military war plans. That happened on Wednesday, March the 26th. Jeffrey Goldberg dropped a bombshell publishing of the sensitive context he was granted access after Hegseth practically called his bluff. You got to be real crazy to add a reporter, a journalist, to a group chat and you don't want the information out of it. And then, of course, Kanye West. And I'm going to just say that's it. That's it. I could go in, but if you didn't see it, between Kanye West's recent black KKK outfit to his continued support of Sean Diddy Combs and his attacks on Beyonce and Jay Z's children, the Chicago rapper has made it his mission to say and do the most shocking things he can. When I started on this show, I was not a Kanye fan. I would rip him to shreds. That was 8 years ago. Then fast forward 3 years after I was on the show, I said, you know what? I got a little compassion because WWJD. What would Jesus do? Then I'm like, oh Lord, I don't know. I can't do what you're doing now because bruh's losing it. But we're gonna pray for him. Of course, Beyonce won big at the Grammys, which was great. Army helicopter crashed into American Airlines plane. Not to talk about several planes that just fell out of the sky. You know, Bruno Mars and Sexy Red dropped a single. There have been California fires. Um, Trump handed out pardons like it was Halloween candy. The nurse that posted the video twerking on the disabled patient's head, she ended up going to jail. It was yeah, she got in Jarrell mad. Oh God, you know what? We praying for him. And then the list goes on and on. TikTok was banned and then it came back. So the first quarter of 2025, the first 100 days of Donald Trump has seemed like 4 years in 90 days. But we're going to keep praying because now, as of today, China announced a 50% retaliatory tariff on all U.S. imports, escalating the total tariff level to 84%. The move was in direct response to President Donald Trump's implementation of a 104% levy on Chinese goods that took effect overnight. Now, the Chinese Ministry of Finance criticized the U.S.'s actions as compounding mistakes and urged for the cancellation of these tariffs, advocating for resolution through equal dialogue based on mutual respect. Now, Donald Trump was at an event last night in his black tie attire, and he said that these countries are begging him to, whatever he wants, they're going to do it. I don't believe it. Tamara, what about you?
Well, I got brand new news with your man. And I say your man because you always on him like he is your man.
I already called him your man. You too late.
No, 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 I'm not too late. Well, you know what? This is like a if I wasn't on Inspiration 1390, I would say some kind of show. But this is a sideshow. I'll say that.
Peter said he lying.
A split show. I like that. But it's really sad that in like you said in these few days that the world, not just the United States, but the world has changed. So it seems like last night you were talking about these Trump tariffs disrupt the global trade, and there's no clear strategy as to why. Like, what is the benefits from all of this?
He said it's working. He's
Working for whom?
well. Here's the deal. Now I get
Yeah,
some
no,
of
what's working?
I get some of my news from the View. I love to listen to these ladies and their opinions. But I think it was Joy Behar who said this morning. He told us exactly what was going to happen, and they believe that he is trying to tank the market on purpose so that his billionaire friends can swoop in and buy, and then the market will bounce back, and then they'll be richer than they are. And so
But
we
they're
have,
already ultra rich.
but that's not enough for them. This is America, Tamara. They
No,
want
this is
all
all
of it.
over the world, though, guys.
I know, but he
But I'm
playing the
saying
game.
it's tanking
Yeah.
the world.
Well, it's really gonna mess with us, but we got to pray because the Dow futures dropped over 700 points, while the S&P and Nasdaq futures declined by 1.8% and over 1.4. He tweeted on Truth Social last night, "Buy low." So I'm just saying, and I said a week
It's a
ago,
trap.
I said this a week ago. They're not going to change the games that they use to win.
You gotta
We
balance.
have to learn it and play the game, or we will lose because you do. Any stock person will tell you buy on the dip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now this dip, which if you're not,
This dip is off the cliff.
but if you somebody who's not an investor, which I was on the View, and I'm like, well, I ain't gonna take your advice. She was like, but it's gonna keep dipping, but it's going to rebound,
Yeah,
and
it
it's
will.
gonna come back because everything that goes down must come up,
But
and
but
so
what do you lose on the downstroke when it's going down like that? This last time this happened, so many seniors and people period that were in the market lost their entire life savings. They lost everything. They had saved and saved and saved hundreds of thousands of dollars. They had put them in these annuities, and you know annuities are not protected by the FDIC, and it's only up to 250,000 anyway. So if you've got more than 250,000, which is why it makes sense for you to break it up. Say you have 500,000, it makes more sense to not put it in an annuity that is protected by the FDIC and break them up into increments of 250,000.
I'll say if you got 500,000, you better buy on the dip. If you got 5,000, you better put it in one of these high interest savings accounts for now, unless you got a good stockbroker to advise you. Victoria, I mean, you could chime in. Our guest, she's like, oh wait, I got something to say. What are your thoughts, Miss Victoria?
So, I actually had this conversation with a young lady who was a daycare owner, and she was talking about how much she lost. So I lost 13,000 myself.
Mm-hmm.
She lost 2,000. And I said to her, well, you're pretty young. She's not even 40 yet. I said, this is not bad for you. This is bad for your parents and your grandparents.
Yeah.
We are going to bounce back. We're not even close to retirement. And I am one of those people that would split your idea.
Yeah.
I would say, hey, take half of the money and definitely buy on a dip. And the reason why I say that is because I own 100 shares of Snapchat.
Okay.
When I purchased Snapchat initially in 2017, I purchased it for like $11.97. Snapchat shot up to $90 at one point in time, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And now Snapchat is probably about $7 now. So again, buying on a dip is good, having the annuities is good, and high yielded CDs are good. You can
Yep.
take your CD and pull that money back once you come to your terms and put it in another one with better, interest. You can really play the game if you want to,
I'm
Yeah.
but you
glad you
have to
said
take the
that because the
time.
banks will tell you, let us help you do this instead of you
Hmm.
shopping the market to see which bank or which entity is yielding the highest. Whereas you can do that yourself because they'll have a lot of clients. You'll be your only client, right? If that's not your job. And so you're going to be more vested into where you're putting it.
Absolutely. You know, Howard Schultz was turned down by 242 banks. So that tells you alone we have
Yeah.
242 banks to choose from. And you can go look and see what their CDs are yielding.
Yep.
I'm not talking about savings accounts, I'm talking about any sort of investments. It tells you what that percentage rate is and the terms of it. And then you make informed decisions for yourself.
Yep.
And right now, Huntington has some of the best rates out there.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and the other thing is it is protected by the FDIC. If that's still a thing. Is the FDIC still around?
I mean, you better stop putting something under your couch again.
Well, I'm gonna say you better have some
Stuff
better
the
savings.
mattress.
But you made a great point. When the pandemic happened, the markets did the same thing when Trump. If you think about it now, that just came to my mind. When he first got in office, it was major dips because of the pandemic
I
things
like
he
this
was
though.
doing. It was because American Airlines was at an all-time low, and I
Hmm.
was telling black folks if we could have bought the whole company, if we would have just because they were like $3, $4 a share when they were in the 20s, 30s.
Hmm.
Now they're at about $14. So my portfolio is I'm still up $11.
Yeah.
Even on the dip now, I'm still up because I bought on the ultra dip when airlines were going through a real crisis
Hmm.
in the beginning of the pandemic. So, you just got to kind of have a strategy and pray.
But let me ask you something. When you bought Snapchat at a low and then it peaked, what did you take the money out that you earned or you left it?
I took most of it out.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I
You
look at
can leave. You can leave it, but if people who did leave it, like I do have a lot of friends who purchased it. They didn't just purchase Snapchat. They purchased a couple of different things. Because I have like a little genius kid at home that be talking to us about financial. Yeah, he's
Hmm.
really that smart. And some people left their money there and they lost the
Well, the
money.
reason I said that because I would have been wanting to take it out.
Yeah. You
I
gotta say that.
sales. I didn't sell the
Yeah.
airline because I knew that was long term, but
I shared it.
some I
I
did.
sold and I repurchased.
Okay.
Yeah, you buy, you
Yes.
keep
I,
money for we
yeah.
sold and bought a 4 unit
Yeah.
building.
We.
That's
And you know what? That investment worked. So, it's pay attention to what's happening. The tariffs, like you said, I love your point. It may not be us, it's our parents, our grandparents, that will definitely be affected because it's a short term, right? And
Yes.
for somebody who's retiring next year
Oh yeah.
and their money is tanked, that's what we got to, but we can't just worry about us, we got to worry about our people. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's who this is going to affect because they even,
Greeter jobs looking good right now.
huh?
Greeter jobs looking
Oh,
real
Lord.
good for the retirees.
Yeah, but then Walmart it's a
They're gonna
Walmart
tax
strike
you.
right
It's
now.
double taxation,
Yeah.
really. If we look at what seniors really, what their real expenses are, they're paying for medication. They paying the regular housing that we're paying if they did not purchase back when they were younger.
Mm-hmm.
And some people, in our financial market, they were not able to get loans back then,
Yeah.
So not everybody had those opportunities to even purchase.
Yeah.
So there's still seniors, and we could talk about the recession in 2008 where a lot of our seniors lost their homes,
Yeah.
so they became renters. They were not renters initially, but they were homeowners. So they're dealing with a lot
Yeah.
in this particular situation.
And I'm sure they never thought they'd see this again.
Oh,
It's like, okay, one and done. No, one and here it is again.
yeah.
And listen, the way Trump is trying to figure out how to run for a third term, we got to
Thank
really pray and fight. I know it most likely won't happen, but
I don't know, because I didn't think that he would have two terms ever, and then it happened.
I
So
don't think we didn't think he was gonna win initially.
ever.
So, can I say this? Am
Yeah,
I allowed to say that?
as long as there's no curse words.
Okay. So, in my opinion, this is not our fight
Yeah.
because we did our part at the polls. And the people that are suffering, I'm sitting back like, because this is what you wanted. This is who you wanted. Your hatred for black people was so bad that you voted for this guy.
Yeah.
And now your business is suffering, and your uncle's business is suffering, and
And
your
your
daddy's
home.
business is suffering, and your granddaddy's business is suffering, all because you hated one class of people. And so we never had nothing. Black people, we came from the gutter. So we can survive through anything.
You right
We're going
about
to be
that.
okay. And again, this is to me temporarily, even though it is stirring a lot of outrage. I think we're still young enough. We will bounce back. Even if it's 10 years from now, we will bounce back.
Yep. There's John Hannah, I believe, wrote a book, "What to Do While You're Waiting,"
Mm.
and it talked about prayer and faith, and that is a good book. So you know what?
Make sure I buy
We're
that.
gonna keep praying, and my prayer, and I know Reverend Jarrell over here has the same prayer that I pray that the Lord blesses me, He blesses you, and the more He blesses me, I pray that I can bless you. And you know what? This Maverick City bless me right on here on the Brunch Bunch.
Don't be in there. You trying to get my attention?
I know, yes,
He
sir.
said he want to talk to your pastor.
Is Hannah your pastor?
No,
Hannah
Jarrell
used to be my
said,
pastor.
Oh, really?
I don't live in Chicago no more, but I used to go to Hannah's church.
He banned up all the liquor stores.
"Oh my
He bought one
God, he
liquor
bought
store.
what?
Oh
And
my
he's
God! Do
closing
you
it
see how they
down."
do? This is what they do as soon as you say
He bought
it.
one liquor
He
store.
said on
And
420, if you tied, you should get a
A
pre-roll.
pre-roll.
who said that, Hannah?
No,
No.
Oh.
no, no, not Reverend Jarrell,
I'm like, Hannah said that?
No.
Archbishop Jarrell. Look,
You laughing, bro? But I promise you, my church will be packed out. Packed out.
I mean, they are having weed Easter egg hunts. Okay.
So we gonna let them
So
take our
many
members?
Oh, your members is coming outside.
they going to
They-
church
they-
first.
they-
However, understand
I
this,
know.
that weed is medicinal. So a
But yeah, we
lot
gotta
of
stop
people,
thinking about
and the
yeah.
major people that are using this medicinal weed are seniors. And those are
Absolutely.
also the ones that are in the pews.
Yeah.
The ones that are not too afraid to,
The
'cause
pastors are and first ladies are as well. Before I was on the legal market, I had a great clientele of people that was saved and filled with the Holy Spirit, and it was medicinal.
yeah,
And the pastor was afraid to ask me for it, so his wife invite me over, and I bring a double dose for her and him. And my clients would never be revealed, but
yeah, we
I
may
used
not have to
bring a
share
double
that
dose.
testimony on there.
No, we don't have to. We
That was
don't have
absolutely
to.
fine.
But what I'm saying is, it's medicine.
Yeah,
And if more research is done, to me, black people, us people of color, we get in last on every trend.
Yep.
We should have been able to capitalize off deregulation, and we did not because we were skeptical. And you can't afford to be broke and skeptical, okay?
You
It's
gotta
like, hey,
pick one.
pick
We
your
can come back in.
struggle.
All right, pick one.
Oh, go to
So
commercial.
when it came to weed, a lot of black people still scared to do this business, to get in the business, to invest in it.
Well, you gonna tell us how the industry is going and how good it is and all that good stuff.
That used to be my nickname in college.
What?
Only wasn't wake and vape. It was wake and bake.
Was you vaping?
No, I said wake and bake.
Oh, wake and bake. Yeah, it's a lot of wake and bakeries out here too.
Yeah, they just opened one in Oak Park.
Yeah, a lot of people get
Not
me
that I
confused
know,
with
you know.
them. You know, you ain't gotta know. No.
But I liked your
Say-
wake and bake.
I heard they opened one. in
I've
Oakland.
heard,
I heard.
yeah, you know.
So I'm wake and vape.
I
She's
like
not
it.
wake and bake. She
No,
wake
I
and
know.
bake.
So a lot of people get that confused. But we wake and
We
vape,
have the
and now
product.
we wake and puff.
Wake and puff. I liked it.
So the pre-rolls
You the
are wake and
first
puff.
pre-roll.
First black woman to do a pre-roll in the state of Illinois.
That is-
First black woman to actually employ black men to transport cannabis in the state of Illinois. So my morning started at 3 a.m.
So you
I
have
had to get my truck
transportation
out.
licenses.
Mhm.
You have the right legally.
Yeah.
You used to have the dispensary, but you said forget that. I'm gonna go into the back end.
Manufacturing. Yes,
Manufacturing.
having a product.
So you do the transportation and you got product. You manufacture.
Logistics and product. Yep.
I love it.
Yep. And I'm
So
really
you put
in
it
there.
in stores.
Yes, it's in stores. And I'm really in there doing the work too. It's a lot of work.
I've been seeing your videos.
Yeah. I mean, I be filming myself because I'm like, this is sweat equity. This is real. But the opportunities is great.
Is
that
it
you
better than? I'm gonna ask this on the radio, but is it better than owning the dispensary?
Yes.
Cause you got out of that kind of quick. How long were you in the?
So before we go on air, I got out of it because I didn't like my Arab partners.
Oh,
All right. So.
gotcha.
Just so you know, it's still alive.
Well, that's
Oh,
behind the
shoot.
scenes,
I
but you
didn't know
know.
that.
We got 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So-
Y'all want to use in the raw? We ain't
Yes,
using
and Tamara will do the intro.
20 seconds.
Did he ask me if I was gonna do the intro? Yes, thank you very
You
much.
know what, Jarrell?
Thank you, Jarrell.
Tammy, would you do the intro? You ain't say
Anyway,
thank you by
Jarrell.
yourself.
10 seconds.
Preach. They voted for hate and now they not great.
And that's right. That's who the quote is there. I put some money on that.
All
Tina.
right, we going there.
We're in the raw with Tamara Fair on the Brunch Bunch.
Today we are super excited about this young lady because she is a true trailblazer, a pioneer in the cannabis industry. She's the first, I said it, you heard it, the first African American woman to feature a product in the Illinois dispensary and the powerhouse behind ACC of Illinois. Victoria is also the creator of Wake and Vape and also Wake and Puff. You all know what that is, right? Well, the first black woman-owned vape pre-roll line in the state of Illinois. She's all about equity, empowerment, and education in cannabis, and her work has earned her a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. Get ready to be inspired by this fantabulous trailblazer woman who is making big boss moves. What up, Victoria
Welcome,
Williams?
welcome.
Well, thank you for that intro. Oh, I love it. Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. You know, whenever you're the first and we get to see you, not read about you, it is amazing, right? So you're living the legend that you're creating in the future, but you're also here to tell people how they can do it too.
Absolutely.
So Victoria, how did you get started in the industry? I told you, you know, when it happened, we were all trying to get in and the state kind of didn't do right and we just knew they weren't going to allow anybody in. What got you in? What made you want to be in? Tell us that.
So I was dating someone who was smoking a lot of weed, and I
Okay.
did not. I was like, hey,
Let's
we need to
monetize
make
it.
some money. And he saw some kind of show on HBO about Colorado.
Mm.
And so we ended up taking a trip out to Colorado, and I had just had my son. My youngest son is 10 now. And we went out to Colorado, and then we started meeting with companies in Colorado, learning the infrastructure of the business. And then we started taking a lot of different classes and courses on the West Coast.
Mhm.
And so everything we were learning on the West Coast, we were bringing it back to Illinois, telling people about it. And when Illinois first went medical, we didn't have the capital to get in on the medical round. So we got to talking about, strategically planning for when the state of Illinois went recreational. So once the bill was refined and refined and refined, they finally had details where the structure of how you was going to apply for that license. And so the first thing I did was I applied to be a responsible vendor, which the state of Illinois requires anyone working in the cannabis industry within 90 days, they have to take what's called responsible vendor training, which teaches them about the rules and regulations associated with cannabis in the state of Illinois. So September 11, 2019, I was approved as a cannabis educator first. And it was only 26 companies approved as cannabis educators. 13 of those companies were minorities, and 5 of those companies came directly up under us. We wrote their applications and we helped them apply for the exact same approval that we were seeking at the same time.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
So we
big.
wanted people to own their own companies. We wanted them, if you're going to get into this industry, we talked about you being an entrepreneur and actually owning your business. So we didn't take any percentages of their business. They were 100% owned by that person. And so fast forward, once I was approved by the state to do education, my phone rung a lot. Everybody wanted to get into cannabis. I want a dispensary. I want a dispensary. And so my question often was, have you ever been into a dispensary? And so I created a tour that I was taking people from Illinois out to Colorado, and I was taking them behind the scenes. It was called the Behind the Scenes Tour. And they would go behind the scenes of dispensaries so they can understand the infrastructure, the compliance, what it actually takes to operate dispensaries. They were able to meet the owners of the dispensaries. The owners actually put time apart for when I would bring my group to their stores.
Wow.
And then they also was able to go to like vertically integrated facilities. And what's vertically integrated mean is they had the grow, the processing, the BHO machines all in one building. And that was pretty cool because it was the dispensary, it was everything in one. And with that, we wanted people to be able to make informed decisions about which license to apply for because how much it costs to actually run these businesses. So going to the tour, people were able to say, you know what, instead of a dispensary, I'm going to apply for a transporter license. Instead of a dispensary, I'm going to apply for the infuser license. The infuser license is only $5,000 a year to renew.
Oh, wow.
The transporter license is $10,000 a year to renew. But you have some other licenses that are $30,000 a year, but you got to pay for it in 2-year increments to
Wow.
renew. So you got to look at what are real financial situations for us as people of color who did not come from generational wealth or who did not, get passed down the life insurance policies to build generational wealth, right? And so I built a team, and we opened a dispensary. Later, shortly after I opened the dispensary, I launched a product for that same team, but a different company, different entity. And so after I launched that product, I really learned about how to sell the product, how to move the product, how to market the product. All of that came from experience. It was really the sweat equity and actually doing experience. When I moved on from that, I ended up launching a gummy line. I helped the infuser as a consultant, and they launched the gummy line. They were the only infusers in the city of Chicago. So that picture that you see me cutting the ribbon,
Yeah.
that was me opening up a location, but I had no ownership of that location. People all thought it was my business, but that was not my business. I was a consultant for that business, and I worked on terms. Eventually, they offered me equity of the company to stay, but by then it was time for me to build my own brand. So I gave them every company my letter of resignation in 2023, right before my 40th birthday. I quit everything.
Wow.
December 13th.
Well, okay, look, all right. She
Yeah.
retired.
Yeah. I gave everybody. I gave three companies a letter of resignation all on the same day, and I decided to focus on myself and my own brand. And I was, stepping into my 40s. It was not a midlife crisis. It was literally an informed decision that you can do this. You have the proper understanding, you have the resources, and you have the relationships in this market to do it. And you can do it your way.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't able to do things my way. I always had to get approval.
Yeah.
Hey, I designed this shirt. We should put these shirts out. And they was like, no.
Yeah.
But guess what? Right now, they wearing those shirts that I designed. But
Mm.
when I designed them, they didn't want to wear them. They was
Yeah.
like, no. The answer was no to everything that I wanted to do. So it's like now I get to control this brand and I get to do it exactly how I like doing it. And if you open this box up, I want you to see something inside of it as soon as you open
Well,
I'd
the
it.
be happy
package,
to.
the packaging is very, very nice.
That came straight from the facility to a dispensary, and I picked it up from the dispensary just to bring it here for you.
Oh.
I love the way your name is on here, Victoria LP. I mean,
Now you're gonna see that was no before you when you open it up.
oh, be
They,
gentle with yourself. You're doing the best you can.
Oh,
So
that's
you've got
nice.
inspirational quotes in the top of it.
in every single box,
Has
there's
a
words of
different one.
affirmations to get
Take a
you
deep
through that
breath,
day.
puff, puff, pass. No, that's not what it says.
Ah,
Take a deep breath and relax.
And then this one says,
These are fragrant.
oh,
Inhale
okay.
confidence and exhale doubt.
That's
hmm
well, of course,
These
I knew
are
they were
so
there. I
awesome.
see the
I
product,
mean,
but that
I
makes it so much better that you're trying to inspire people while you're helping them.
absolutely.
So for the people listening, because your story is so amazing, we could sit here, and we know it's a good story. We just listening. We just
Right, but this
listening.
Twilight Berry is amazing. It smells like a perfume. I've
But
never
let's
smelled
talk
anything like
about
this.
some of the misconceptions about the cannabis industry,
Ooh,
right?
yeah.
And if we can start with some of the health benefits of the cannabis.
So the first thing is we cannot make medicinal claims on cannabis
Okay.
because pharmaceutical drug companies will come for us.
Okay.
But this is a plant. Okay, just like when Dr. CB told you these different herbs you needed will help and heal in your digestive tract. You
Mm-hmm.
have to look at the plant like that, right? So there's different apps and different ways people can educate themselves on what they need it for.
Mm.
There's this thing called Leafly. That's an app that I actually like.
I
There's
like
this
that.
thing called Weed Maps. That's an app that I like. You have iHeart Jane, which iHeart Jane is more so of a reward system. But when you're looking for a particular product, you can go find it there. You can
Isn't it
type it.
interesting that everybody in the studio is going, mm-hmm, like
I'm
they know
like,
those,
you know what? This is the
they know
most
all those apps.
amen.
Mm-hmm.
Savvy, I said to my
Tell
man,
her.
this is the most amens we done got in the interview. I'm
You're
praying for
walking
y'all.
Weemaps. See, listen, I used to know the CEO of Weemaps. His name, well, I not used to know, but he's no longer the CEO. But his name is Jeremy Jacobs, and he's an amazing person to know. Very super, super smart. And with Leafly, you can go into that app and you can discuss whatever your medical issue is.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll talk to you about different plant profiles, different terpenes, different things that will help you with those things. For example, I personally suffer from inflammation. So this Twilight Berry, this is my favorite. This is an indica, by the way, for people who, have problems sleeping, need to take the edge off, trying to get low. When we talk about the plant, we got to also educate you since I talked about it being an indica. So when you think of the word indica, think about being in the couch because you might be there. Okay. When you think about sativa, sativa is your upper. It's going to make you feel good. It's going to inspire you. You might clean up the whole house and the garage, okay? Sativa can
And
get
your
you there.
neighbor's house and
Yeah,
garage.
it gives you this significant amount of energy, energetic feelings, and it's also based on the different terps that's in that product. So, and then your hybrid is a combination of both indica and sativa. So, typically when people purchase products that are hybrids, my educational question that I tell them is always ask, is it sativa dominant or indica dominant, since
That's
it's a
important.
combination of both. It's
Mm,
important. You're getting the best of both worlds, but what you gonna do at the end on the dip?
mm.
Right. How you gonna show up?
Exactly.
So you're not just known as an entrepreneur, but you're also an advocate. So what drives your passion for social equity in the cannabis industry? Which when the Illinois first rolled out the application, it was supposed to be a social equity application to kind of level the playing fields. Didn't really come out like that, so that's probably why I'm gonna guess why you went into advocacy.
Absolutely. For people of color, black men in particular. At the end of the day, I'm a black woman. I'm not a black man. I've never been arrested for cannabis. And everybody know what group was targeted with the most arrest rates
Mm-hmm.
for cannabis.
And
And it
over
was
sentenced.
Absolutely. And over sentence, and some still sitting in prisons for the same plant that people are making not millions but billions of dollars
Yeah.
on.
In cities where it's still legal. I
Absolutely.
mean, where it has become legal.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the advocacy work does not stop. But the true reason behind it is number one, I have three black sons. I have no daughters. Okay. And when it comes to police brutality, the arrest rate, people know that African Americans were the most harmed by the war on drugs. And to me, they did not get a fair shake in this industry.
Hmm.
So I had to be the person to be their voice, to be their advocate, and to give them those opportunities. Like I literally was the first person to hire black men to transport cannabis in the state of Illinois.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
something to clap for. So let's talk about the ACC of Illinois and tell us what ACC means and how does your company serve the community and create space for others in the cannabis business or want to get in the cannabis business.
So ACC of Illinois is an acronym for Aurora Cannabis Consultants. But when we were approved by IDFPR as cannabis educators, we didn't know that the banks would close our accounts just for being educators. This is a
Mm.
non-plant touching business. And if you put the word cannabis in anything you do with cannabis, your
Yeah.
bank account's going to get shut down. You will be denied mortgage loans and any other loans, and your credit cards too will get shut down.
Yeah.
So we had to dissolve Aurora Cannabis Consultants and use the acronym ACC of Illinois. And everything about ACC of Illinois is about education.
Gotcha.
I am a CPR instructor. I have been since 2017, maybe 2016, probably before that. People look for courses. They look for classes. We once had grow classes where we would teach you if you have a medical card, you would get um, our growth specialist. His name is Skip. Michael Postlewick, I will say his real name.
Mhm.
He will help you set up your home grow, where you can legally grow 5 plants in your home if you have a medical card. At ACC, I used to prescribe the medical cards as well. I used to
Oh.
do medical cards for 5 states at ACC of Illinois. So in Aurora, we did everything about education. We created a mock dispensary to teach dispensary training courses. We came up with courses for transportation for people who couldn't get their transportation licenses going. They didn't know how to monetize the license. They didn't know what the next steps were. So everything about ACC of Illinois was about education, workshops, teaching you how to do it.
Now we are running short on time, but Tamara, I know you have a burning question.
Go ahead,
No, I
Tamara.
don't. I just wanted
Oh,
to.
no pun intended.
I just, I just, a lot of people were on the fence about cannabis because their morals stopped them from getting into it as a business. But then there were a lot of people that actually got into it as a business. And now you're starting to see a trend of the people that actually got the dispensaries coming out. What would you suggest would be an arena that would be less financially burdensome, I'll say, to get into, and more long-term lucrative? Now we have transportation, you got manufacturing, you got the dispensary, and you got the education piece. So which one of those, and maybe some that I didn't mention?
Well, as I said to you earlier, you can't afford to be broke and skeptical.
Mm.
And it's so many wealth trends that we missed out on. We missed out on the Yahoos, the dot-coms, energy deregulation, and now people are missing out on the biggest wealth trend that exists right now, which is cannabis. Um, all of these businesses take an abundant the cost associated with it is a lot. But if I had to invest my money into anything, it would be products.
All right.
Mm.
There it is.
It will be products.
So if somebody's listening, Victoria, and they saying, I want to connect with you, I'm interested in taking a class or getting in the industry, how can they connect? How can they reach you? How can they contact you?
Our Instagram page is Wake and Vape VLP. And that is probably the best way to connect with me. As it relates to classes, all of our classes are online now because I'm really in this facility creating more and more products. I got so much stuff coming this year that you guys are going to love.
And
The
you got this
consumers
big,
are
beautiful
going to
smile on it.
love. I mean, I'm excited about it because the work speaks for itself. And, even yesterday, I was there longer than I've ever been yesterday because I had a dispensary call me up. She tried this sunrise mango, and this is called Keisha.
Oh, my
This is
sister
called Keisha. My
name.
sister named Keisha.
Oh,
Keisha, do you love me?
Right. Wait, Drake do have that song Nokia, so he might sue me because I'm like, is it Keisha? And then I'm gonna get a lot of followers when Drake sue me.
Exactly. But is it wake and the letter
Wake
N?
in
Vape.
Yep.
vape
Okay.
Yep.
So
VLP.
because people want to know because they want to be.
It's Wake, the letter N, VLP. And I can set up a tour for them to come out and visit our facilities. We have a couple of different facilities. And we have Doc C, Dr. Consulter.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, listen, Victoria, this has been an amazing
Yes,
interview.
it has.
I would think everyone in the room really enjoyed it, and we are just so excited and proud of you and the work that you're doing. Let's give a
And
warm
you are
Brunch Bunch welcome.
trailblazing, honey.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Listen, if you're interested in learning more about this industry, follow Victoria on social media, Wake and Vape, VLP, Wake and Vape, VLP. That's at sign Justice said. And listen, you want to connect, find out about her workshops coming up, send her a message and tell her that you're interested in the tour. And she, listen, is the gift that keeps on giving. She loves to help people. So, Victoria, we thank you again. We pray nothing but success. And I can't wait to send somebody the products to try.
Don't worry, I'm trying.
Okay, good. I got enough for everybody.
Believers, we encourage you, like we do each and every day, to keep love alive. Tell someone that you don't know that you love them. Tell someone that you do know that you love them. Love will begin to spread like a wildfire. Tamara Fair on the air, I love you.
I love you, Action Jackson.
Believers, we love you. Baby Eminem, we love you too. You know what? We'll be back tomorrow with more great guests. We get it done Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. You're rocking with the Brunch Bunch.
Hey.
I like that.
I
outro.
like that. Hey, you brought it.
Hey. I want to keep this.
All right, bye-bye, y'all. We got to get off.
Yeah, get me offline so I can talk to y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got all the goodies. Okay?
Thanks, guys. I'm sorry I didn't have enough time to talk to you, but I'm going to talk to you about these products tomorrow. Look at this packaging. Isn't this amazing? Uh-oh, look. Merch. We got merch up in here.